So families irreparably separated, some people going to jail, some people going to the grave, some people walking off. Okay. And then God says that children are going to be abandoned this year with surprising regularity. Parents will abandon them from an epidemic of selfishness, of not wanting to be parents anymore, of not wanting to be available as a mom or dad anymore. And here are the statements that he said. I'm losing my life. I'm missing out on life. I'm missing out on my youth. I hate being a mom. I hate being a dad. I hate these kids. I'm not going to stay here anymore. I've done the best I can. I can't cope. I need to do what's best for me. Yah says that the foster system will be overwhelmed with growing numbers of abandoned children due to negligent parents or overwhelmed parents who feel that they can no longer provide for the child or the children that they have. You will see the elderly doing double duty for those parents who can't provide or who decide to abandon their responsibility to their children. This includes older children who still need parental assistance and help. Bigger teenagers will struggle with mental health issues and feelings of failure and abandonment due to parents leaving the home or due to parents putting them out at the worst possible moment, claiming that they're old enough to fend for themselves or to make it on their own. And what I saw a Black teenage male having to work 2 jobs as a cashier and a short order cook, in addition to doing his coursework at college. He was working these 2 jobs to finish college, and this young man was struggling greatly with his mental health. He felt abandoned, and at the time God showed me him, okay, he was working in the back of one of these fast food places with the chef clothes on, with a little hat to keep his hair out of the way. And he was struggling not to cry as he did this job, because even though this boy was regularly around food, he was not getting enough to eat. He was not getting proper nutrition. He was not getting enough clothes to stay warm, and he was not getting emotional support from anyone. He did not want to show his vulnerability or his need when he was around his friends, so he was acting normal and just acting cool. But this boy was going through a lot. He was struggling with his life circumstances, and God was showing me that all this boy's unfortunate circumstances of being a young person, having to do 2 jobs and also balance college and not getting enough food, not getting enough pay, barely making ends meet. It happened because the boy's father left the house unexpectedly, and his mom, in anger, brought in a new boyfriend, and the new boyfriend saw the boy as competition and worked on the mother, eventually convincing the mother that he didn't need to be in the house with them anymore. God showed me that there were 2 younger siblings, and one of them was very young. You know, when the baby can walk but is still wearing a t-shirt and still needs those training diapers, maybe age 2 or 3. So I saw younger siblings and another one in the middle. Those younger siblings were allowed to stay in the home, but the 19-year-old was not allowed to live in this family house anymore because the boyfriend worked on the mother in her vulnerable state, kept saying, that's a man, that's a man. He needs to be a man, and saying all those evil, hopeless, homeless boyfriend statements until the young boy was put out of the house. He was not allowed to live there, and God was laying it on my heart. Tell them to beware of an increase of self-harm and suicide on the rise from vulnerable teens. He also said that there would be the great potential for catfishing and abuse of young people, as predators will offer them things that they need, like money, like phones, like, oh, come and stay with me, come and stay with us. He said that predators will offer them what they need in exchange for them doing personal favors and making sexual advances on young people. So, for instance, a young woman in the same situation being forced out of the house, you know, and a man says, oh, I can take care of you. And, oh, no, I don't want anything from you. But then when the girl is in his apartment, then he starts making comments of, oh, you know, you look pretty grown, but she's just 15 years old, that kind of thing. People, you have to be aware that these children, they're eating GMO food. They look bigger than they are. They're big on the outside. They're 6'3", but on the inside, they're still children. They are young people, and young people, in your own defense, you need to stop acting like you're 35 years old and you've been paying taxes for 10 years or so. You really need to stop it. You need to allow yourself the space to grow and mature. It is okay to live your life in the stage that you are. If you are 14, act 14, dress 14, speak 14. Stop playing into the culture that sexualizes you at an early age, or that puts immense pressure on you as a young man to say, oh no, I've already slept with 5 people. How many of you slept with? In order to prove that you're a man. You are doing yourself great disservice. You are destroying your potential to grow in a way that God will actually take an interest in you and want to draw you near, like so many young people in the Bible. David was young. Jonathan was young. The armor bearer was young. Gideon was young. Joshua was young. These were young people. that God took an interest in, and he drew them close and he made something of their life. But if you are only interested in prostituting yourself and making sure that you have an OnlyFans because you want bags and you don't have at 16, at even 19 or even 21, you don't have the available skill set to be able to make the kind of money to be buying $900 dresses and shoes and what's that thing that everybody wants? PlayStation 5. You don't have the money to be able to afford that. And so what you're bringing to the table is the priceless things that God has given you. Most of you, it's your body. Most of you, it's your body that you are exchanging. That PlayStation 5, it could fall and break tomorrow. But you've slept with an old man, male and female, to be able to get the $600 or whatever it costs for that. You're making expensive exchanges with precious things, and you will end up regretful for it. This is the time as a young person, when you hear that homes are coming under attack, this is the time to begin to lift up a banner of prayer. Do not think that your prayers will go ignored by God. This is the time to stop involving yourself in grown folks' business, grown folks' activities. Take yourself into your room, get a prayer journal, and start writing down your prayers. You don't have to write down every word of the prayer. Pray the prayer and then say, today, January the 10th, I prayed this and I asked God for this and this and this to keep us in this house. Prayer upholds a home. If your mother is stressed, if your father is fighting for cash, your prayer in the home is helpful. It's needed. And sometimes, young person, it's the fact that your prayers are missing that feeds into the weakening of your house for Satan to come like the big bad wolf and blow the entire house down. So Yah was showing me that people are going to start neglecting and abandoning their children. They're going to start dumping off their children with their moms and their dads. And I saw grandparents, for the most part, having a good enough heart when their daughter goes off or their son-in-law goes off, leaving their daughter, to take in young people, to take in their own grandchildren and start to do double duty, raising these children. This might be the first introduction to Bible life that some young people get when they end up at their grandparents' house. And I can tell you that even if grandma's rules are strict, and even if grandpa says no being out until 4 a.m, that thing will save you, because at 4 a.m, bullets are going to start flying everywhere and bouncing off and causing a lot of rest in peace. Remember, this is the time where God says, freak accident, mass death is coming. A lot of piling up in the car and it will smash because everybody's listening to Tyler, the Creator. Everybody's drunk and high and nobody sees that truck up ahead to brake fast enough. You go under that thing, it cuts off the entire top and there goes everybody's head. I will be blunt. I will be honest, because these things are on the news every single day. Death is rolling out in our midst. And so maybe ending up at grandma and grandpa's house is not going to be so bad for some people. But people are going to abandon their kids. They're going to say that they're missing out on life. They're going to say that they're missing out on their youth. They're going to say, oh no, I got pregnant too young. Who sent you there? Who fought you for your clothing and put a gun on you and put you in the bed? Okay, then be quiet. I hate being a mom. I hate being a dad. I hate these kids. I'm not going to stay here anymore. I did the best I could. Tired people. I can't cope. I don't have it in me anymore. I think I need to do what's best for me. This is what's going to come out of parents' mouths, and they're literally going to walk away from their children. And in the case of children that don't have a loving aunt, a loving uncle, a loving home, can you understand now that children are going to fall? These young pieces of corn are going to fall into the hands of predator Uncle Ben, lesbian Auntie Candy, who dances at the Blue Banana Mango Club and tells the girl, if you're here, you got to pay bills. You're old enough. You're 19. You can get in the game. You're not better than me. And before you know it, a 19-year-old aspiring dental hygienist, aspiring public policy major is dancing at the Blue Banana Mango with her hopeless auntie because she doesn't have anywhere to go. And the auntie has talked to her and told her that exposing the body that God gave her is a way, teaching her the tips and tricks that lead directly into Romans chapter 1 and 32. Those who devise evil schemes. Stop dancing at these clubs. God doesn't like it. And so God says that the foster care system is going to be seeing a lot of children coming in, and you that are the village around young people that can perhaps see a marriage in trouble, pray for these marriages, because the foster system, at least here in the United States, is nothing but a human trafficking hub. I have said it boldly, and I have said it in many videos. This is one of the main places that those in power hunt children from for their schemes and their shenanigans and their rituals and their sacrifices. There's a reason that the foster care system and the CPS system and the No Child Left Behind, the entire network in America, there's a reason that the New York mayor was saying all these children were missing and they don't know. You take children and you write their names down. You tag them. You take their picture. What happens? Did the child fairy steal the child from your care? If you took them to a certain address and said you will be fostered at this address, why is the child not at that address? Why are the adults not being arrested and questioned? Why are you, as a grown man, simply okay to come and have a press conference and say, we don't know where the children are? Why are these people not being dragged in the streets is the question. It's because it's not our child. Let me point somewhere else because I don't have any. It's because it's not the child that is close to you that is missing. That these people just blatantly have hearings. We've lost track of 900,000 children. Quadruple that number. And then multiply it by a multiplier. It's not 1 million or 2 million or 3 million children. They are moving tens of millions of kids in this country, moving them by night, moving them by truck. And God is trying to get our attention. That's why the latch on the U-Haul keeps breaking. And then shocking scene on I-95, a child's arm was seen signaling for help with a red cloth out of this moving van. Then the cops are there, 30 children in the back of the van. Everybody's like, oh, and then back to normal life. These people are doing this thing in broad daylight because Satan is requiring greater and greater sacrifices from his minions. They can no longer roast 10 children a month. It has to be 100 children in order for their sex magic to be more potent because their dark overlord is coming and he requires more. The same way our God is requiring more from us as the church.